Hey everybody, welcome back to our Tuesday show on the Extra Point. We're going to be recapping week 7 of the NFL season and just telling you our thoughts and what happened during the trade deadline today. So, who wants to start?
I mean, I could start since my Vikings are kind of a hot topic right now. So obviously, Kirk Cousins' Achilles tear really stinks because they were making a playoff push after starting 0-3, and now they're 4-4. But it doesn't seem that the team is quitting, which I like because it says a lot about the organization and the players and the coaches. And they're trading for Josh Dobbs. They're getting Dobbs and a seventh round pick for a six. And I think that's a good trade. I think they're going to rock with Jaron Hall at quarterback, the rookie out of BYU, who they got in the fifth round in the draft.
Dobbs?
Yes, 100%. They're going to rock with Jaron because Jaron Hall has potential because he's so
No,
young.
no, 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 no. There's a reason why you traded for Josh Dobbs.
I'm just telling you what I've seen on Twitter and from sources that are close to the Minnesota Vikings.
You don't think
They
Dobbs?
trade for Josh Dobbs as a fallback plan if Jaron Hall doesn't work. Jaron Hall and Josh Dobbs have similar skill sets. So what they're going to do is if Jaron Hall can't, make this offense work, they can go to someone like Dobbs, who they would consider more reliable than Hall. Hall, his ceiling is higher than Dobbs, so they're going to give that a chance, especially he knows the playbook and he's been with the team the longest. Dobbs is just coming in. So they're going to try and rock with Hall, see what he has. He'll play against Atlanta. We're going to see if he's any good or not. And if he plays decent enough to warrant him in that starter position, he'll stay there. But he's got a very short leash. Like if he starts messing up, Dobbs will be put right in. And I think that's a great idea, what they're doing, especially, when your QB goes down for the year, that derails your entire season. It does. It does it for any team. So they're making the most of a bad situation. And then they also traded their guard Ezra Cleveland away, which I'm fine with. They only got a 6th round pick, which isn't great, but he was going to leave anyways. So it's good to just get something. And they got Dalton at guard now, and he's been fantastic. And they're going to re-sign him. So I'm very happy with how their O-line's been. And that's why I'm very optimistic with Hall, how he'll play, or Dobbs, because that O-line's been elite. Jefferson comes back. They have 2 number 1 receivers. They have a top 3 tight end, and they have a top 10, I think, offensive coach in the NFL.
Think
So
about Dobbs. What I noticed when my Ravens played the Cardinals, um, he makes the right read, but he can't throw an accurate ball. There's so many times where he's just so inaccurate. He sailed a slant way over, and that's how we got one of our interceptions. And then he just sails some passes and just easy picks. He also stares down his receivers. And that's Dobbs' issue. I don't think he's got it.
Dobbs is smart, but his big issue, like you're saying, is he can't hit deep balls at all. He's very good on the intermediate and short, gains. But besides that, he's just not that great of a quarterback. And I know he's not that great. But again, that's what happens when your quarterback tears his Achilles and he's out for the year. And the plus side about Jaron Hall is he's an older rookie. He's 25, and he's got a similar skill set to Dobbs, but he's a very accurate quarterback. So I'm very interested to see how things shake up. I'm rooting for both of them, obviously, because they're both on the team, and we'll see what happens.
Well,
Yeah.
would I be wrong in saying this is worse than the Aaron Rodgers loss? I
Um,
think this is worse in terms of honestly, in terms of
I
everything. I
agree.
think this is worse.
because it's mid-season, yeah, because you go 0-3 and you manage to go 4-4, and you're already looking for a quarterback probably next season. This is Kirk's last year, and Kirk, you could say whatever you want. He was playing at an MVP level. He led the league in touchdowns. He was top 3 in a bunch of stats. And he was doing a lot of this 3-game winning streak that they were on without Justin Jefferson. And that's one thing I'm able to do when I could see if a player is good or bad. And I'm not saying this Vikings roster outside of Jefferson on offense is bad, but Kirk was still able to produce. And I was very impressed with him. Like, besides the Bears game, which they started off slow, and that's obviously going to happen when you have life without JJ. He was amazing against San Fran, amazing against Green Bay. So it really does suck. And I love Kirk. I do. He's probably my favorite NFL player, that or him or Jefferson, because he's not just a quality uh player.
Player.
He's
He's
a
a quality
quality guy too.
Yeah.
Tears his Achilles, hops off the field, gets in the car, is rooting on the team. He gets in the locker room. The first thing he asks, "Did we win?"
Yeah.
Yesterday, it was yesterday, last night. They had kids come over to meet the Vikings players. A day after tearing his Achilles, he's there with the scooter, one leg, and he comes through a snowstorm so young children can meet him and he can sign their autographs. He's an outstanding guy. And like if you get the chance, watch the quarterback documentary. It'll make you love the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna answer this too. Which NFL trade at the trade deadline is gonna help a team succeed the most? I'm gonna answer it first. I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think losing oh my God. Tre'Davious White was just a really bad loss for that Bills secondary. Their defense hasn't been the same since losing Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White. And I think grabbing Rasul Douglas, pretty decent corner who can take the spot of Tre'Davious White, have a little less load on their cornerback too. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for the Bills defense to get right again. And I still don't see the Bills as a huge contender, but I do think they'll make a playoff push. They'll be in the playoffs. Maybe they can make some noise in the playoffs. So I think Rasul Douglas is really going to help them out.
All right, Rudra, you can go.
I think it's gonna be probably the Niners getting Chase Young. I understand what you're saying, but the Bills are still garbage because they're just mid. Josh Allen's mid. But Rasul Douglas is all right. I think he's
Josh
been
Allen is
a little. I think Rasul Douglas has been a little overrated. I don't think that he's going to help them as much as people think people think that he's going to help. Chase Young, on the other hand, is proven well. To Rasul Douglas already proven, but Chase Young has proven more recently that he can be very, very good. And especially with this Niners front line that they have already, Chase Young could feast because all the attention is going to go to Nick Bosa. So they're going to be focusing and double team Nick Bosa. So Chase Young is going to have a lot of openings to go in, and we know he's going to we know he has the talent and doing good. So
I don't know if Chase Young's ever really been that good. Like he does his five sacks on the season.
his rookie year was very good.
He had 9 sacks. Like
Chase Young has a lot of talent, but he's very injury prone. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. I think he's going to succeed in San Fran, but I hope
I
he's
think that's the spot.
Well, again, sure, but at the same time, he is in what's it called? In Washington, he was the primary edge rusher. Here, he has Nick Bosa.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Montez Sweat was.
Really, you think Sweat was over
Yeah.
him?
Well, Sweat had 6.5 sacks this year. Young had 5. Sweat had a really good year last year. So I think people did
Sweat
think.
is definitely the better player, I think.
But one thing,
Sweat is not Nick
Feeling
Bosa though.
tired.
Chase Young is now gonna be attached with his old fellow edge rusher at Ohio State. So they already know like how to work together. They're probably gonna be good with stunts, stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it pans out. But I don't know why the 49ers are going for more D-line help. I don't think they need that at all.
Need corner.
I think, yeah, they should have got corner. They're the ones that
Yeah.
should have got Rasul Douglas.
Rasul Douglas, yeah.
They should have tried to get Jalen Johnson from Chicago.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's a good one actually.
I'm upset. My Ravens, there were rumors that we were going to get Josh Jacobs. Supposedly Josh Jacobs wanted to go to Baltimore. The Ravens wanted Josh Jacobs to go to Baltimore. But they were requesting a 2nd-round pick, and it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah, he hasn't been doing as great as he did last year, obviously, and
Gus has been doing a very good job.
I think
Gus
yeah,
Edwards is
Gus
pretty
is
good.
doing besides the Arizona game where he played extremely well. He's doing exactly what he has to do, and there's nothing more you could ask for.
But
So
also, he's like, and I'm not even just saying this as a Ravens fan. Like, people don't put enough respect on his name. His entire career, he's averaging over 5 yards per carry
no, he's good.
as a running back. But, so we're gonna go
He just had the injuries,
Yeah,
one injury,
that's all Ravens ones that
I
One
thought
in-
I thought he had something else too.
maybe. But he had that one big torn Achilles the same year he was gonna start over J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
So we're gonna ignore the Bills and Buccaneers game. Decent game. Bills won. So
Bills are mid.
or Ravens Cardinals once again, pretty lopsided game. So where do you guys want to start? I want to start with Jets and Giants.
We can go with that one.
Worst game
that-
I've ever watched in my
That was
life.
the worst game I've ever seen. There were like a total of 4 first downs or something by the second half, and Zach Wilson didn't play too bad. But I do have to say, when it mattered most, Zach Wilson came through 24 seconds, 2 amazing passes to get 50 yards downfield, get an easy
He
field goal.
did.
Yeah.
He did. I have to give him that. He was really clutch, and there was a lot of officiating talk. Was if Kayvon was, offsides during before that snap, and also the fact that that was all around the NFL. But Graham Goodell missing a couple field goals, and the clock, being stopped, like the ref setting the ball, which he did. The ref 100% set the ball before the 1 second mark, and they got that spike off. But I don't. A lot of my friends back at home are Giants fans, and I don't feel bad for them at all. I think this is something they deserve because when you have -9,
Wow.
when you have -9 passing yards, you don't deserve to win a football game.
Well, can I just
Okay,
say,
yeah, that
I
was
don't care. I don't
really
care who
weird.
you have at quarterback. I don't. I don't care who you have.
No, but
And-
at
well,
the
can I-
same time,
can I just say
that
one
was
thing? If
what?
so, yeah, like obviously, what's his name? What's the quarterback's name?
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito, right? He played quarterback in college. He can throw a pass. That's what I don't understand. Yeah, it's the NFL. It's a lot different. Whatever. But as a play caller, knowing the head coach took over the play calling jobs, Brian Dable's now the play caller. You know he can throw a football. There's a reason why you signed him in the first place.
Yeah.
He has the capability of throwing a 5-yard out, a go ball, a 5-yard slant. He has the ability. So why don't you let him at least throw those? Simplify the offense, but still let him throw the ball. 2 for 7, -1 yards. The only throws being screen passes to Saquon Barkley. I don't understand that at all. Tommy DeVito, like, he was a college quarterback, so he's able to throw a pass over 40 yards. Whatever, he can throw an accurate ball. There's a reason why he played in college. Let him throw the ball. I just don't get what it was doing. Like, there were literally chants going, let him throw,
Yeah.
let him throw. Like,
What
no.
a weird game though. for all of the Giants, 14 passing attempts, and they just said, Saquon, you're like the only person doing anything. They had what
6
14
rushing.
pass attempts and then 36 rush attempts for Saquon, and then
Yeah.
45 rush attempts total.
Crazy part.
45 to 14.
Craziest part, Saquon was literally injured the last like 4 weeks until the week before that. And like, you give him the ball 36 times, that's so much wear and tear on his body. That's just disrespectful as a
Yeah.
head coach.
I agree. I think that game. I'm a big Brian Dable supporter, but I think he deserves some blame for that. I get like it's a tough situation when you have your QB3 in, but -9 passing yards is utterly embarrassing, unacceptable, and it's just disgusting. I think. Like, and I know that's a lot of like it sounds harsh, but I saw Jaren Hall go in for injured Kirk Cousins and throw 20 yards, I think, on 11 snaps. Okay. He's never played in an NFL, regular season game in his entire life, and he could throw 20 yards, then you get -9. Like you were saying, Andrew, there's a lot of stuff you can write up as a play caller to get guys open or to just get some yardage in the passing game. And I guess people could argue saying, well, if Graham Gano hits his field goals, then who cares? The Giants win with -9 passing yards. Well, you're not in that position probably if you could just pass the ball a little bit more and you're more dynamic. Maybe I'm wrong, but also I know that maybe I don't care because you still lost. You still had -9 yards and nobody feels bad for you. You have the worst offense in the NFL, and that's tough, as a fan for the Giants. And it's not going to get any better because Daniel Jones also isn't that great. So good luck. I hope the best of luck for them, but I don't see anything turning around for them unless it's defense wise.
Is Tyrod going to be back anytime soon? What's
I
his
have
in-
no idea about Tyrod's status.
Is it to say New York football sucks?
I think it is, but I also
Jets are
think
good. Jets are a good team. They're
two
not
backup
great. They're
quarterbacks.
good. Jets are
I
good.
will say this. I will
They're
say
good.
Jets being 4-3, Rodgers already doing dropbacks on that torn Achilles.
What the heck is Rodgers doing? What is he on?
I don't know what he's doing, but get Kirk on that because
What I
All I
know
gotta
Kirk's
say-
calling up Rodgers. I know that.
But so as a Ravens fan, I heard that Rodgers and J.K. Dobbins were rehabbing together.
they are. Yes.
So could that mean that very silently J.K. might be back for the playoffs as well?
Well, JK has a different
Positions.
completely. He's a running back.
But as I was saying, like, Rodgers already doing dropbacks. I am one of the believers that think he will be available maybe the last week of the regular season if it matters, or
Well,
be or not until the playoffs. But I think, or even week 16. But I think the Jets will make the playoffs, and once Rodgers is there, it could go crazy. It
it's
could.
funny you say that because tweeted out 32 minutes ago by Ian Rappaport, Jets GM Joe Douglas, we're expecting Aaron to be back.
Does it say what day?
No. How would they know
Yeah,
what
no.
day? He tore his Achilles, man.
They
No,
just
I'm
said
saying-
expecting him to be
I'm
back.
saying he will be back, and they can make
They're
extreme.
just saying they expect him to be back this season.
If they make it to 7-7, and Aaron Rodgers comes in, that's gonna be really interesting to see. But I will say, I don't know if 10-7 will make the playoffs in the AFC. So can the Jets, if they make it to 7-7, which I don't think they're making it better than 7-7. Let's be real. With Zach Wilson.
Well, their schedule is favorable, but yes, I guess Zach Wilson.
Is it favorable? They got the
I
Chargers,
believe
the
so.
They got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Bills, and the
Raiders
Dolphins.
will win. Raiders is definitely a win.
Bills,
What
they
about
can
Chargers?
win because Bills are mid.
Chargers, I feel like is a coin flip because that defense is so good for the Jets, and the Chargers defense.
What about Bills
Chargers
at
defense
home?
is bad? So
What
the
about
Jets,
Bills?
I think they can win against Bills. Bills are mid.
What about
Like,
Dolphins?
Dolphins, I don't
play
think
with
they can.
Miami, but I just don't see it happening. I would say they get
And
swept
then-
by Miami.
And then they
Oh,
got
Miami.
Falcons, Texans, Dolphins. So I wouldn't say it's
Falcons, Texans, Dolphins. I
They'll
think
beat
they
the
can-
Falcons and they'll beat the Texans. CJ Stroud.
I
is
don't.
not-
I think they'll go 1-1 with those two. But that either way, that's 7-7. Either way.
But then it's not like Rodgers is going to get back for the Dolphins week 15. There's no way. But if he does, then I think they can make
If
it.
Rodgers comes back, I think it would be their first playoff game as a wild card team. If he
First
was,
of all,
They're not making it
him. I
to the
know
wild
that.
card with Zach Wilson.
I'm saying if. I'm saying if. I think it's possible.
I think Rodgers can come back week 16.
I don't. If he comes back and he's playing, everyone would have to find out what this man did. And
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he did state who he went to because I just saw a video on the McAfee show saying that him and Kirk talked. They're not like friends, but they like each other. So he's like, I wanted to help him out, tell him what I did, and just give him some encouraging words. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, I hope Kirk
won't make it back. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's
All right. Well,
week
can
8.
we move
So I
on
don't,
to
it's not even possible.
So we move on to Jaguars Steelers. Jaguars offense, they were moving the ball. They didn't really finish their drives well. But other than that, the Jaguars took this game pretty handedly.
I
What
don't think there's too much to say about this game.
What do we think about the Steelers offense? And I'm just gonna say it's obviously horrible, whatever. Who are they better off with, Trubisky or Pickett?
I don't know. Either way, you guys told me last week the Steelers are better than I thought. They are not. They are not good.
They played the Jags.
Steelers are not good.
The Jags are a top 5 NFL team right now.
They are really good.
Regardless, the Steelers are not good.
Okay, Steelers are good. Okay, just your one side of the ball does not define the entire team. It's a 53-man roster. Okay, that defense is still elite in my opinion.
It is.
I think it's a top 10 defense. And yes, the Steelers offense is not great. But you know what's funny? They find a way to have a winning record every single year, and they probably are this year. They probably are going to go 9-8 again. And we're going to look back at it and say, how'd they do that? They're going to beat teams they shouldn't beat. They are. They beat Baltimore. Should they have beat Baltimore? Probably not. But they do. They find a way to get wins. And in this league, winning is hard. Not
But
many.
then they still had the audacity to blame a 10-point loss on the refs when they've been getting all the ref calls all season.
I agree. The refs.
That pissed me off.
The finger pointing at the refs is a little ridiculous. But I still think
Every team has gotten atrocious calls this year. The reffing has just been terrible.
yes,
It's
been
not
bad.
just
Deontay Johnson goes, they were on their side all game. They wanted them to win. Like, no, bro. Like you got that call against the Rams the week before, making you win the game. So
Officiating's been bad all year, except if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But
and Chiefs.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I would know. The pass
Well,
interference, no call.
There's a reason. They want them to be back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, technically in the NFL,
Kelsey brothers, Taylor Swift would be in attendance, whatever.
dude,
Yeah, it's just
don't
But
even. Oh my God.
But something that's very promising to see with the Jaguars offense, they got everyone involved. They got ETN 3 catches,
Yeah.
24 carries. They got Ridley 10 targets, 6 catches. Evan Ingram 10 targets, 10 catches, and then even Christian Kirk had a couple catches. So I think seeing the Jaguars offense finally starting to distribute and not just choose Christian Kirk to have a blow up game or Ridley to have a blow up game, they're all being a big part of it. That's really promising to see. So
Do you
now we're
guys
gonna.
think
Oh,
do you guys think that he's Trevor's top 5 yet?
I don't think he's top 5. I think he just makes too many mistakes to be
Who's
top
top
5.
5?
I said he was top 5 before
Trevor.
the season. I'm not
Harold
gonna lie.
No.
I predicted the Jags to finish number 1 in the AFC this year, which they easily. And I predicted Trevor Lawrence to win MVP.
Well, he's not winning MVP.
I know, but I bet the plus 1,600 bet last year. Put $10 on it to win 160. It's not gonna hit. But,
If I had to rank the top 5 current quarterbacks, I'd probably have Lamar. There's really no MVP. It feels like right now. I'd say Lamar because like he's the last couple games he's played really well, and that's how it's been lately. It's like who's been playing well recently. I would literally even throw in Kirk, but he's injured now, so I can't.
Kirk, yeah.
So I would probably put Lamar. I don't even feel comfortable saying Mahomes right now.
I don't
but like
either.
kind of Mahomes.
Can we talk about that game?
It'd be Lamar, Tua, Mahomes.
We're gonna go there in 2 games. Before that,
Jalen Hurts, maybe, probably not. And I don't know who else you would say. I don't even know if I could rattle off a top 5. It's just there hasn't been enough elite quarterback play in the NFL. I would say the only elite QB play I feel like I've been seeing is, Kirk's been playing amazing, hurt, and then Lamar and Tua. So I'd probably say Lamar and Tua, and then if you want to put a wild card, I put CMC at running back. It could happen.
So yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Lamar's been really good. CMC's been a stud. He has all the touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's just doing unbelievably. But I would say the front runner for MVP right now is Tua personally.
You think it's over? I don't know. I think it's a coin flip between him and
Tua's
Lamar.
But I will say this. I will say that all right. Wait, I don't know what I was trying to say. I would say that Kirk, if he was healthy, he would be in that conversation. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And one guy I think who should really be in the MVP race is fill in the noise while I think, guys. I think it should be Myles Garrett. I think he has single-handedly brought the Browns to their winning record. He took over the game against the Colts.
I think it's valid.
I don't think there's same as TJ Watt. They should both be in the MVP conversation. They're obviously not going to win it, but they both are game wreckers. They both are extremely valuable to their team, and they should be in the conversation. From there, I'd say the offensive players in the conversation should be Lamar, Tua, Mahomes, CMC.
Yeah,
I don't say Mahomes, but I agree with the rest.
But let's
Mahomes
move on to the
know.
rookie sensation, first career start, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns, Will Levis.
Talking about Will Levis it's actually funny. I was in a Philly restaurant, sports bar, whatever you want to call it, with my friends. We were doing a show for our school club, and we were watching it, and I saw Will Levis drop, and I really wanted the Vikings to pull an Alex Smith Mahomes route, and I wanted Will Levis, and a lot of people were clowning on me for it. And I'm like, I think if Will Levis goes to the right spot, like he could be really, really good. And they wind up getting Jordan Addison, which I'm fine with because he looks like a top 10 receiver in the NFL as a rookie. And I'm not saying he is right now, but he's got the second most touchdowns in the NFL for the receivers. So I'm just saying. But Will Levis, I think, is absolutely, just a fantastic debut. Like, what more could you ask for?
Well,
4
I think
touchdowns.
he really showed his arm talent, and that throw opposite field, 50 yards downfield, perfectly in stride off his back foot. That really just showed his arm talent. But the one thing about him, I don't know if he's going to be able to make reads. I don't know about that. We haven't really seen that. He just hit over the top against the Falcons, but that was a good game. Promising to see the Titans young quarterback definitely like being
Titans showed out though. It wasn't just Levis obviously played very well. Henry, 101 yards. Hopkins finally showing up, 128 yards. Like, this looks like what we expected the Titans to be, at least what Titans fans, I would think, expected the team to be. Titans have a good future now, it looks like. They played the Falcons, but like, if they keep playing like
Well, the
this, then they
Falcons
have
were
a
a good
chance at the
defense.
playoffs.
Falcons are a good defense.
They
I'm
do
a
have a
fan
decent
of,
defense, actually.
I'm a fan of Vrabel, but I feel like if they have a losing record, which there's a good chance, they have to consider bringing in an offensive-minded coach, I think, for Levis. I think that's just a consideration. Not saying
Agreed.
they
Agreed.
will or 100% should, but I think they should think about it, because if you can, get Will Levis to a top 10 quarterback, you can contend.
Yep. So, moving on to the next game, let's take very minimal time on this one. But the battle of the rookie quarterbacks, Panthers finally get their first win in the season. What do we think about this one? I personally I don't think CJ Stroud is as good as we thought the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah.
I think he's still a good player, but I think he needs more help around him. And I think he was a little overhyped after the first 3 to 4 weeks.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that they won. The tank for my team continues, and now the Panthers have a chance of winning winning more than one. The tank continues. That's what I'm focused on.
There's no such thing as a tank. I'll always say that second the word tank comes up. No team inadvertently tries to tank, because if you do, you get caught and you get in trouble, and people lose their job. But
I hope
I
people
don't know
lose their
why. I
job.
had a weird gut feeling to pick the Panthers to win the game. I didn't do it. I'm like, no way. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And they did. So shame on me for not picking them and going with the gut. I was very impressed with Bryce Young. What happens when you have a little bit of patience with a player? He's gonna be fine.
He did have a much lower QBR than CJ Stroud did.
He- he-
42.2 to 72. That's why I said when we were doing the QBR stat that I don't like the QBR stat.
Yeah.
Because that just makes no sense to me.
I think there is some value to QBR, but like then again, we have to look at the X's and O's, look at the film, look
I
at
also want to see
the result
what-
on TV.
how QBR is calculated. Not rating, like how QBR. It's
Off the top of my head, I don't remember off the top of my head, so I can't tell you. But
Maybe.
I was just happy with Bryce Young. I'll just say that he played well. He did enough for his team to win against another rookie quarterback, and I think he's only going to get better. Same with
Adam Thielen continues to really show out.
Yeah, they put him in a he'll cook.
All right, so I think it's pretty safe to say that the Cowboys offense, it's really starting to turn up. Dropping 43 against the Rams. Dak had by far his best game of the season. So what do we think about the Cowboys against Philly this Sunday? What do we think about that? Personally, I got the Cowboys in it. I think they're gonna end up winning the game 27-23. I think the Cowboys defense is very good. And I also think their offense is really starting to show out. 133 rating for Prescott, 25 of 31 for 304, 4 touchdowns. He did have that one interception. But I think the Cowboys offense is just stacked, especially with CeeDee Lamb having the best game of his career with 12 catches, his career high, 158 yards, his career high, and also 2 touchdowns. So
I think that the Cowboys look like a stock market with how up and down they are. I think that this is more a show on the Rams than I think is on the Cowboys. The Rams are not what everyone thought they were. They played decent at the beginning, but they're falling off pretty quick. I think that this is another example of the Cowboys beating up on bad teams. When they get to the Eagles, I think they're again gonna have another crash. Like, it's just up and down, up and down. I think they're gonna be another down, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, they suck," and then the following week they'll be like, "Oh, they're good," and it's just gonna continue like that. I just don't think that they're gonna be able to stay consistently good.
I get that. I think with their defense, they can, though.
I think where's this Dallas game?
What?
Is this in Philly?
Let me look. They are playing in Philly, yes.
I would pick Philly just because of that, but I don't blame you for picking Dallas. I think Dallas as a team right now is a big threat to Philly, not just because they're a divisional rival, but just because Jalen Hurts has a knee injury and he doesn't have, the escapability that he usually would have against a good, defense and pass rush in Micah Parsons. Uh, I think it'll be an interesting game. I'll still rock with Philly, but I won't be shocked if the Cowboys find a way to get this win.
I would.
And then
Be shocked.
I think
I
the
would be.
I think the Cowboys can get it. So Vikings Packers. Vikings took that division matchup pretty easily. Obviously, we already talked about Kirk getting hurt. The Saints won a shootout against the Colts. That Colts defense is really bad. Derek Carr finally started to find his stride. He hit Rashid Shaheed for 3 deep balls, 2 of them being touchdowns. So we don't need to talk much about that. That was a good game out of the Saints offense. And then the Eagles always have problems with the Commanders, but this is, I think, I don't know if I'm not afraid to say it. I'd say this was the best game of Jalen Hurts' career. 29 of 38, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he didn't use his legs. So maybe not the best
I
game
think
of his
it's
career,
Super Bowl.
but I think you can say that. But I'd say this is the best game throwing wise of Jalen Hurts' career.
Okay.
AJ Brown is unbelievable.
Oh my! I guess
The
more
Titans-
receivers should complain to their quarterbacks because it worked. AJ Brown's been getting fed, and he's been playing well. It's working.
Unbelievable.
The Titans have to be the stupidest team in the league to have traded AJ Brown. During that draft, I was losing my mind. I was like, what is Howie Roseman on? He's on like all kinds of crack right now, like being able to like get that trade going. That's insane. What did they trade him for? Like a 3rd rounder?
No, first.
Oh,
rounder.
first.
Oh, but
First
still,
and third. First and third.
a 1st and
I would
3rd for
say this.
AJ Brown is still like, I don't. Come on.
You know what's worse than that? The Patriots telling AJ Brown that they were going to get him, and they drafted N'Keal Harry in the 1st round.
Oh, don't remind me, bro. I know it's AJ
You know,
Brown.
you know the funny thing,
it's-
AJ
I know.
Brown thought. Oh boy,
You're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, you're cutting out.
I know, I'm back. I said,
Well,
"Oh boy, I froze."
Yeah. JJ Brown's lifetime
Unbelievable.
Patriots fan. Debo Samuel wanted to be a Patriot. Yeah, I know.
We take a second to finally shout out our ex-Penn Stater, Jahan Dotson. Had a
Yes.
good game, 8
Han
football,
Dotson.
touchdown.
I had a good game
That was
right
exciting.
after I cut him on my fantasy team.
Oh, and then
I mean, I don't care.
last thing about that game, I think the brotherly shove formation might be pretty scary now. They had a nice little reverse out of it to DeAndre Swift for a touchdown. That might scare a couple of teams, but I think they should have hid that for the playoffs. I don't think they should have used it in a game against the Washington Commanders.
Turning that play into
I
a
guess-
formation is something else.
Yeah,
I guess it's not bad to try, to see if it actually works against a real
It-
team
it did.
in the well. That's what I'm saying. It works too. So
Oh yeah. So we're gonna be moving on to Browns Seahawks. I'd say this was the best finish of the weekend just
Yeah.
because Geno Smith found who was it?
JSN.
Oh yeah. Geno Smith found Jackson Smith-Njigba for that touchdown with about 40 seconds left to win the game. Really scary as a Ravens fan because the entire game I was thinking, oh my God, the Browns are gonna move to 5-2. How are they doing this? But thank God Geno Smith came in there. Jackson Smith-Njigba found the end zone and got that win. The Ravens now play Seattle in Baltimore this weekend. I'm looking forward to that one, just like how I was looking forward to the Lions game. That was also in M&T. What do we think of Seattle, the Browns, and then just next week with the Ravens in Seattle?
Both are good teams. I think they played their stuff. I don't think there's too much about this one.
I mean, I think Seattle is a pretty solid squad. They're now in 1st place in the NFC West, which is really
Yeah.
interesting to think
Yeah.
about. I still think they're limited with Geno. Not saying Geno is bad, but there is a ceiling with his play. I think the more you use JSN, the more they'll be able to move the ball down the field. I think Kenneth Walker is great. and I think he's just been a top 5 running back all year. So they've got a solid run game, they've got a great passing game, and their defense is very good too. Devon Witherspoon has been just fantastic, a great draft pick. But I still would like to see more out of just the offense and Gino, regardless
Yeah.
of those positives. And I think they're not going to beat Baltimore in Baltimore personally.
Well, I think the problem with Gino is he just makes a lot of mistakes. He throws some picks. Other than that, he moves the ball downfield with ease. He throws a very accurate ball, but he does stare down receivers a little too much, and defenses jump on that. One thing that stood out to me about this game, Kenneth Walker only had 8 carries. Didn't even
Yeah,
have.
Kenneth Walker was dealing with a calf injury,
Okay, that makes more sense.
and they said he was cleared to play, so I started him in fantasy, and I almost lost this week because of that. So if I would have known he was hurt, I would have just started Gus Edwards. It would have been just fine.
So then we will move on to the Chiefs in Denver. I had a feeling Denver was going to win this game. I didn't want to say it. And if you are watching this, viewers, and you watch Plotnik's picks as well, I did say the Chiefs are going to beat the brakes off of Denver. So maybe you don't believe me when I said I had a feeling that Denver might win this game. But I did. And they did win this one. Patrick Mahomes had his worst game in his career, I'd say. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't
Thank
want to
God.
hear about the flu. I don't want to hear about he had the flu because he was able to run around. He was able to still throw the ball downfield. I don't want to hear about he had the flu.
He had the flu, okay, and Denver is not easy to play, and he'll be just fine. They'll bounce back, but I do think it says a lot about the receiving core and the lack of receivers they have. And I was very surprised that they did not go for a wide receiver in the trade deadline today
Yeah.
at all,
Me too.
because
Well, I think
they
they were
clearly need receiver help. And I knew this game would be close. Denver for some reason plays Kansas City tough. I mean, it's probably because they're division,
But
rivals.
that's the thing. It wasn't close. The Chiefs didn't have a touchdown.
Yeah. Mahomes has never
Well,
lost
yes,
to a
this
division
one wasn't
opponent at
close.
home.
Denver beat them, but Denver plays them tough. I'll say that.
This was definitely the worst loss in Mahomes' career. Like I said, like they've never lost to a division opponent at home, or he hasn't.
Are
I
they going to bounce back though?
They haven't lost to a division opponent away. Yeah, they'll bounce back.
They are.
100%.
they'll bounce back, not to a level they were
I
last year.
still
But
think they lose to Miami though. I think
Do
they'll
you-
bounce back though. I think they'll play a good game against Miami, but they won't win it.
Do you
Yeah.
think that?
And everyone will be freaking out on the Chiefs, and then they'll be just fine like they usually are.
Do you think they make the Super Bowl this season?
no.
They're still my Super Bowl pick, yeah.
They are.
If not them, I'd probably pick Baltimore, but right now it's them.
I have Baltimore and Miami over them.
So
That's-
all
that's
right.
fair.
Now to really what I would say was the most eye-popping game of the week. I think there are 2 takeaways from this game right here. The Bengals are back, and the Niners are not what we thought they were. Unbelievable game by Joe Burrow, finally showing he's back 28 of 32. That's an unbelievable efficiency. 283 with 3 touchdowns. Mixon looking good as well, averaging over 5 yards per carry, had a touchdown. And then once again, as I said about the Jaguars getting every receiver involved, that's what the Bengals did. They finally had all their receivers put in at least a little bit of production. Boyd had 3 catches with a touchdown. T. Higgins, 5 for almost 70 yards. And then Jamar, 10 for 100 and a touchdown. That is exactly what you want to see as a Bengals fan. That is exactly not what you want to see as a Ravens fan. But unbelievable game by the Bengals. And then just, I don't think, and I will say this, a lot of people were saying the Bengals defense is really good. They're not. San Francisco still had a total of 460 yards, but Brock Purdy is just way too mistake prone to get this team anyway.
I will continue to stand and die on this hill. Is that Mac Jones? If he was on the Niners, he would be as good, if not better, than Brock Purdy, and that is being proved right now.
Well, personally, I want to see the Niners start Sam Darnold.
I don't know. Okay, you guys are jumping the gun on Purdy, man. He just had a concussion 6 days ago, and he still, if you watch the game, he's still making decent throws and everything. It's not all just a stat line. Give them the bye week and let's see how they come out of that. If they come out flat in the bye, then I think there
He
should
should
be some
not have
confidence.
any leeway. Brock Purdy should not have any leeway. He has
Okay, so
Deebo
Brock Purdy
Samuel.
plays he plays first of all in the Vikings game, he was not bad. He started playing bad after he got the concussion. So that's why he threw the 2 interceptions. I'm not saying he wouldn't throw one still, but it's very convenient. He gets the concussion, throws 2 picks. So now he comes back from getting a concussion, plays a Cincinnati Bengals team that is really, not that bad as their record may say, and he doesn't play perfect. So Brock Purdy, all of a sudden, from being an undefeated, regular season record, he has 3 losses that are not all his fault. Let that be known. And we want to just all pin it on him. It's very easy to pin the blame on the quarterback when it should not be all on the QB. And I'm very critical of Brock Purdy. I am very critical of him. Let's give him the bye week. He's on the bye right now. Let's see how they respond to losing 3 in a row. And I also do agree if you plug in Mac Jones on this team, he'd probably be a lot better than he would be in New England. I agree. I'm not going to say he's going to be better or worse than Purdy, but I'm sure there's some similarity there as well. Let's give it time. Let's not jump the gun here.
All right, now I want to hear your thoughts on the Bengals.
Bengals are fine. They start off slow every year. It's the same story every year.
Do you see them having the capability once again to make the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl?
They have the
Yes,
capability.
but I don't think
I don't
they
know
will.
that they will.
Rudra, take the words out of my mouth. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Let me say this. You have the Steelers and the Browns in the AFC North, both at 4-3, along with the Bengals at 4-3, Ravens at 6-2. The Bengals and the Ravens do play again in Baltimore later in the season. Who do you have winning that division? And honestly, just give me the standings of that division 1 through 4.
What are the Bengals at right now?
You're kind
They're
of
at 4-3. All of them are 4-3.
You're doing this just for yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm actually curious because I think the Bengals might take the division.
I think it's gonna be at this point probably Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers.
If I had to pick, yeah, I'd probably have Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. I don't see the Ravens losing this division unless Lamar gets hurt.
But let me say this.
As much as I think the Bengals are a good team, they're not as good as Baltimore. Defensively, they're not. Quarterback play, I know Burrow, is back. Lamar's been playing better, okay? He has, and he's healthy, and he's more dynamic than Burrow is. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to hear that, but currently right now, Lamar Jackson is the better quarterback in the AFC North. That is the truth right now.
But okay, let me say this. So with all these teams, right?
My internet's going down.
Do you think, knowing the Ravens beat the Bengals in Cincinnati early in the season, who do you think takes the game in Baltimore? Because personally, I don't think the Ravens are taking both. I think the Ravens lose to the Bengals in Baltimore. I think the Ravens, they finished their season playing a bunch of good teams. They have the Niners, the Dolphins that they have to play. The Bengals already beat the Niners. The Ravens will be playing the Niners after the Niners had their bye, after they would regroup. And if the Bengals take the game against the Ravens, that's going to put a really interesting fight for the division race.
I think they'd go 1-1. I think the Bengals can go 1-1 against the Ravens.
So you think they'll win, but that's my point. Knowing the Bengals, if they beat the Ravens, then it's a complete race for that division. The Ravens don't have the tiebreaker anymore. The Ravens,
right? But I think overall, the Ravens are gonna end up like outpacing the Bengals. I don't think that. I think the Ravens overall are just playing better than the Bengals are. Bengals have a good offense and stuff, but they don't have longevity.
But the Ravens have to play
compared to the Ravens.
The Ravens still have to play the Chargers, the Niners, the Jaguars, the Dolphins, and the Bengals.
I heard like 3 or 4 wins in there.
The Ravens
are one of the best teams in the league right now. So, I can't believe you're talking your own team down.
You don't think the other teams look on their schedule? It's like, oh boy, we have to play the Ravens.
Oh, they do. I'm a very pessimistic fan, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, I am too. All right, I'm very critical of my team, but like, you also have to just consider the factor. And I always think these 2 things when I watch football. One is, as a fan, you have no control over the team, so Doesn't matter what lucky hat you wear or socks. You can though. It's fun. I mean, I still wear a shirt every now and then. I'm like, if I wear this shirt, they'll win. But and then two, it's these are all professional football players, professional football teams. Any given Sunday, any given Sunday, we see this all the time. The Vikings just beat the Niners without Justin Jefferson. This happens.
Does.
All right, ready to move on.
So we're not gonna talk about the Chargers Bears. We're not gonna talk about the Lions Raiders because both of those were terrible. So
Yeah.
let's move on to Rudra's Tears.
All
Let's see
right,
if
not
they are
not a
good.
whole lot of shakeups this week because
Huh?
there was not.
Okay, interesting.
Hold on, let me get it. Not a ton of change out here, but we got what we got here. Now you may be thinking, my first thought, if I would be looking at this from an outside's perspective, would be going from top to bottom. Why are the Chiefs still number 4? Mahomes. I personally, I don't think the Chiefs are going to make it. They're on watch for drop, and if you don't believe that's a thing, look at the Niners. The Niners were on watch for drop last week, and they did drop. Chiefs are on watch for drop. They just need to show that they are not as good as number 4. Bengals made their way up. Niners dropped. Anything else? Broncos made their way up a little bit. Commanders made their way up after playing a good game against Philly. I know they always do, but it's week to
And
week. So
10 spots.
yeah. Anything? Let's hear thoughts.
Personally,
of this
personally, this is my favorite one so far.
Okay, but what position are the Chargers better at than like Buffalo? Like really?
Yeah, no, I agree.
No,
No,
it's
well,
not.
Yes, there
I-
are positions, but if we're looking at the overall team,
I'm a Bills hater. I'll give you if you want to
We-
put.
we know.
oh, I think the Cowboys should be a lot higher than they are.
I think Dallas should be swapped with Cincy, and I think Detroit should be 7 right behind Dallas.
So I think the only switch you need in the top 2, and you might wait, actually 2 switches. I think you replace the Cowboys with the Chiefs. Put Cowboys at 4.
I see. Like I
then
said,
wait, listen. Then you move the Chiefs who are at 8 to 6, and you move the Bengals to 8. So I would replace Cowboys Chiefs, and then swap the Chiefs and the Bengals, and then I would, yeah, that's what I think. But also, I do think Detroit should be
7, I
above
think 7.
Yeah, 7. So
right, but
I
Detroit
know they lost
lost.
to Seattle, but I still think they're better than them.
They lost to Seattle and they also lost last week. I
You can be
believe.
better than a team and lose to them. That's how the NFL works.
they same
Right.
as the 49ers. I still wouldn't put the 49ers behind the Browns. I would put them
Right now on a 3-game skid, I think that's fair. But I think when it's all said and done, we know they'll be ahead.
Right, but when what's it called? When it comes to the top 10, you gotta be more critical. Like it's more specific changes in the top 10.
What are
You
you
know what I
doing
mean?
for me now?
Huh?
It's what are you doing for me now? I think that's fair. I think the top 10 teams are right. The order can be mixed around. You know,
Yeah.
I would probably have Buffalo definitely over the Chargers, though. I think that's a little.
I could understand where you're coming from.
I would have
I can
Buffalo over
understand.
the Browns. I would have Buffalo over the
I
Browns.
also I hate to say this, but you have to move the Vikings down 5 spots. It's power rankings. It's not standings, and I know they're playing well.
This is
You
not
lose
include
your quarterback.
This is with Kirk. This isn't including Kirk. What's it called?
Well, he's
Kirk's
gone.
injury.
He's
Huh?
gone though.
I know.
I think
Next
after
week.
the
Next
DK.
week we'll adjust for Kirk being gone.
He's so depressed about it too. He's like, he's gone. It's over.
Dude, okay, but we all know if he was still in, they probably make the playoffs. They
Yeah.
could probably It's funny that
That's why I have him here.
They were 4-4 this year, and they went 13-4 last year, and this team looked and played so much better than last year's team.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
agree.
sucks. Like they could have made the playoffs and definitely went on a run. Not saying they would, but I would have been confident about winning.
And the
first
defense
round.
is better too.
Yeah, I'm like, if they play, I'm not saying they would beat Detroit, but say like they played like Detroit or Seattle. I'm like, oh, they could definitely beat them.
Yeah.
Bottom and middle look okay to you guys?
Not anymore. I think Houston's way too low. Like way too
See,
low.
you say that, but they lost to the Panthers.
Okay, Green Bay's not better than them. Raiders aren't better than them. Colts aren't better than them.
Yeah.
Saints are probably
Also,
equal to them.
I think the Jets are too low. I think the Jets should be replaced with.
I
the
think
Titans.
you guys are way too high on the Jets.
I don't.
Okay, when the
They're
Jets
4-3.
play Atlanta, do you actually think Atlanta is going to beat the Jets?
I think they have a great chance because
Okay,
Zach
but
Wilson
wait,
is their
wait,
quarterback.
wait.
Desmond Ritter is not going to do,
Rudra.
or Taylor Hunt not doing jack
Rudra.
against that Jets.
Yes.
Why are these two 4-3 teams lower than?
It's not the standings. It's not the standings.
Okay, okay,
I
but
agree.
still, the Jets and the Steelers, like are 4-3.
Steelers are not good. Steelers are not. I'm not hearing anything about the Steelers. I don't care. Steelers are not
The
good.
Jets and the Steelers, fine, not the Steelers, just the Jets, are 4-3. Why are two mid 3-4 teams in front of them with the Rams and the Titans? Like, what's that about?
Wait, how
The
did
Titans are good with Will
how
Levis.
did
The
the
Titans
Commanders
look
go
very
10
good.
spots after losing?
Who?
Yeah. He tried to explain that. He just said they played the Eagles really well.
Okay,
let's
but
just
so
go
the
on.
Texans literally blew out the Steelers.
Oh my
and-
God. The Saints literally won. They scored 38 points. How are you not going to move
Against
them at
who? Against who?
Colts?
Yeah, that's why they're the Colts.
Okay, but they,
okay, but
they're
Houston should
4-4. Like, move them up a
Houston should
little
be
bit.
at 20. Houston should probably be at 20 because they blew out the Steelers and they beat the Saints.
Yeah.
Washington done? What has
Also-
Washington done to say they're better than Houston?
Losing.
what-
Okay,
What does Washington
Lose
do?
well?
I'll,
What
I'll
have they
give
done
you.
to
I'll
say
give
that-
Houston. I'll give you Houston. Should be probably higher, but
100%, not probably.
losing to a 0-win team is not looking good for you.
Wait, but what about the Saints?
That
Like,
doesn't move you down 12 spots. 12?
I don't know, man. Losing to a 0-win team moves you down quite a bit.
No, losing your quarterback for the year moves you down 12 spots.
what about the
It was
Saints?
that week. It was this week. It was.
I
this
know. I'm
past
just.
week
I'm
before.
just.
All right.
Why is there so much disrespect on the Saints?
On the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints are gonna, I think the Saints are going to start gelling and make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll put Saints on my.
I think the Saints, unless Jaron Hall is like good or Josh Dobbs is good for the Vikings, they'll probably be like that spot over the Vikings.
I'll put Saints on my riser watch.
But I think your top. Okay.
I think the top 13 are the right teams. Just the
Yeah.
order can be reworked.
I like. Yeah. Okay. I'll say this. I like the tiers that you have these teams in, but I think the order.
Houston
of
should be a potential wild card.
No. I think Houston should be the first spoiler. I
That's
like
fair.
the tiers, Rudra. I
That's
like
fair.
the tiers that you have, but I don't like the order that they're in their tiers. If that makes sense.
That's fair.
Like, I think the Jets and the Steelers should be in the. Sorry, I think the Jets and the Steelers should be right behind the Vikings, and the Titans and the Rams should be in the back of potential wild cards.
Titans look good.
They had. They had a
Titans are the type of team that can lose to anybody and beat anybody. That's what they are.
Are they? Does that mean they're the new Vikings?
Does that mean they're a spoiler?
They actually are very similar to the Vikings. I would say they're more of a spoiler than a potential wild card, you know. But I don't think it's an awful spot. I think I'd have some teams over them. But again, I agree with what Andrew's saying. I think it's good tiers. The order could be worked, but I think this is the best one you've had.
Agreed.
All right, I'll
You-
take
you
I'll take
cooked.
best one. I'll take that.
All right, so as we are wrapping up, we are going to talk about
I've got like 4
9.
minutes.
week 9 of the NFL season. We're just going to be really quick about this. Say your upset of the week, say your game of the week. Carter, you go first, then Rudra, and then I'll go.
Let me just pull up the games real quick just to get a fresher week.
I can go then.
All right, yeah.
I'd say Miami against Kansas City is going to be telling of a lot of things. Well, it's going to be telling of whether Kansas City is a
Germany.
pretty good defense.
In Germany,
and
9:30, baby.
yeah, that's going to
Wake
be a
up
fun
early.
one.
Wake up early.
Yeah. Miami, it's going to be telling of if their offense is really it is as good as people say, but it's going to be telling of as like if is Miami's offense as good as they say. Kansas City's defense is pretty good. And we're going to be able to see if Kansas City can bounce back against a very good team in the Dolphins.
Carter. What
Game of
about
the
you?
week is Eagles Cowboys. That's a huge divisional matchup. Uh, that is what everyone. I mean, besides Chiefs Dolphins, obviously, which is 1 seed potential probably. Two teams fighting for it, but there's so much bad blood between these teams. They don't like each other. They're both trying to win the same division conference. And I think it's going to be a huge game. I'm leaning towards Philly because that's where this game is at. But, I think Dallas has a great chance at winning this game. And I would say another good game to look out for. And it's a little bit of, I think, a shocker. But I think it's Bucks Texans. They both have the same record. I think they're both solid teams. And it's very much do or die for both these squads.
Yeah.
They're both, like I said, 3-4. CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield.
Bucks started 3-0, right?
Yeah, they did. If Baker loses this game, there's going to be some serious questions about his ability at quarterback. If Stroud loses this game, there's going to be some unfair narratives about how he started off the season. So I think there's a lot of importance there. And my upset of the week, biasly, is the Vikings beating the Falcons. I don't think Ritter's good. I don't think Heineke's that great either. And
See,
they lost
is it
Grady
in
Jarrett.
Atlanta?
And I know the Vikings lost.
It's
It
in
is. I don't care if it was. I don't care if it
It's a
was in
5-point
Minnesota
spread.
either. Yeah, it's a 5-point spread, and I think that's rightfully so when Kirk goes down for the year.
Yeah.
But I have faith that Jaren Hall will be able to distribute. I could be completely wrong. Like I feel like the Vikings either win a close one here, or maybe Atlanta blows them out because there's no Kirk to control and manage the game. So we'll see.
All right. So Rudra, I want to ask you a question. You say the Steelers are horrible. You say the Titans are pretty good. They play this Thursday night against the Steelers. The Titans do in Pittsburgh.
They do.
So what do you think of that game? Who wins?
Titans, Steelers. I'd take the Titans. I would definitely take the Titans. I don't think the Steelers are that good. They win sometimes.
Vegas has them as even teams. They're only favored by 3 because they're home. So maybe you're right about that. Maybe they are pretty even.
I would probably say Steelers because it's
I would say
Will
Steelers
Levis.
too.
I think is in for a tough time. This is a huge NFL defense. I'm not saying the Falcons aren't good NFL defense, but TJ Watt is.
So my game of the week is the game we actually could not see last year because of the tragedy with DeMar Hamlin. I got Bills-Bengals. I think this is really going to show, are the Bengals finally back? Are they legit? And are the Bills frauds, or are they also legit? It's going to be a really interesting thing to see, really interesting game. I'm really excited to watch that Sunday night after having the worst Sunday night game ever.
Who you got?
Chargers and the Bears. I got the Bengals in this one. I do think they'll win by 2 possessions.
I think so too.
I think they'll win 31-21. And then I'm also really interested to see my Ravens play at home against the Seahawks. Once again, another good NFC team coming in to our stadium. Lamar. I don't know if you guys know this. Lamar Jackson is 17-1 in NFC.
Yeah, lost the Giants.
17-1 in NFC games. Should be 18-0. We should have won that game last year. Up 10 with 6 minutes left. What a shame. But that's 17-1 against NFC teams. That's
I've got to head out.
And then my upset of the week will be the Cardinals beating the Browns. That's going to be a shocker to most of you, but I think the Cardinals will finally get back in the win column and beat the Browns. So,
Kyler's back, right?
No, with 2. And Kyler will be back next week.
Yeah.
Should be. That's what they're saying.
So yeah, I think the Cardinals can beat the Browns. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. That was our show for the week. Really appreciate you for watching. Let me know what you guys think, and please tune in next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.